The landslide havoc this year has continued unabated as the monsoon rains have remained active till mid-September. The landslide incidents over the past few years have increased, mainly attributed to the weakened landmass triggered by the 2015 April earthquake. Loss of life and property apart, on a sadder note, there were calls to shift the settlement living over the fragile landmass, but such calls were never addressed. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. The rescue operation for the 18 people missing from yesterday's landslides in Nagpur and Birkharka in Sidhu-Palchok resumes early this morning. The prices of edibles and vegetables skyrocketed in recent days. Government monitoring remains ineffective in controlling the exorbitant price hike. Indian economy projected to shrink by 24% in the current fiscal year due to the global pandemic. Nepalese economy to face a spiral effect of the Indian economic recession. And Dominic Thiem becomes the new US Open champion. Zverev loses the title clash in a grueling 5-set contest. The search operation for the missing landslide victims in Sidhu-Palchok's Barabise has resumed from early this morning. Teams from Nepal Army, Armed Police Force and Nepal Police have intensified the search operation in the two villages of Sidhu-Palchok, where at least 20 people are still reported missing. A rescue team yesterday had retrieved 11 dead bodies, while 20 people are missing in the landslide that struck Nagpur and Birkharka of Barabise in Sidhu-Palchok district early yesterday morning. 12 houses were buried under the landslide and police recovered 11 bodies as of the latest updates. According to Superintendent of Police Rajan Adhikari of the District Police Office, 8 houses in Nagpur and 4 houses in Birkharka were buried under the landslide. A police team from the local police station in Barabise is helping in the rescue operation. Meanwhile, the landslide has also damaged 16 houses in Jugal rural municipality, out of which 8 houses have been damaged completely. Meanwhile, 2 women were also killed in landslide in Baglung. The 2 women were killed after being buried in landslides in 2 different places in Jaimini municipality yesterday, while 6 people sustained injuries in the landslides. According to Police Inspector MKC, the deceased have been identified as 60-year-old Lakshmi Paudal of Kusumi Sera and 70-year-old Jalapa Devi Paudal of Simle. The injured yesterday were taken to primary health center in Kusumi Sera. 1,039 new cases of COVID-19 were detected yesterday, taking the total number of coronavirus cases in the country to 54,159. Meanwhile, 9 individuals succumbed to the virus yesterday, taking the COVID-19 death tally to 345. Speaking at the regular press briefing yesterday afternoon, the spokesperson for the Health Ministry, Dr. Jageshwar Gautam, informed that more than 840,000 swab samples have been tested till date in the country through the PCR method, out of which 9,165 swab samples were tested yesterday. The federal capital reported 597 new cases, out of which 483 were reported from Kathmandu district, 81 from Bhaktapur and 33 from Lalitpur. Likewise, 71 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in Morung, 61 in Bardia, 34 in Dhading and 31 in Rupandai. Meanwhile, 1,173 individuals were discharged from various hospitals and isolation centers throughout the country after registering full recovery. With this, the total number of recovery cases in the country has reached 38,697 and the recovery rate to 71.5%. The country has a total of 15,117 active cases at the moment, out of which 169 of the infected individuals are being treated in intensive cares and 23 in ventilators. Likewise, 6,536 individuals are in quarantine centers, whereas 7,730 individuals are in various isolation centers across the country, while 7,387 individuals are in home isolation. The price of grocery items, including vegetables, has skyrocketed in recent days. Traders are increasing the prices every week, citing low production of goods and restrictions in transport of goods, among several other reasons. They are hiking the price of lentils and beans on their own. However, government monitoring has remained ineffective in controlling the price hike. The prices of vegetables, including tomato, gourd, onion and potato, were below 60 rupees per kilogram last month. However, within a month, the prices of these vegetables have doubled. Traders have spiked the prices of other edibles and daily consumable goods as well. In just 5 months' time, the prices of lentils and beans have gone up by 20%. The prices of sugar has increased from 70 rupees to 95 rupees per kilogram. However, traders have blamed manufacturing cost decrease in imports along with lockdowns and prohibitory orders imposed in various parts of the country for the hike in prices. Wholesale traders and middlemen in the vegetable market are making huge profits during the coronavirus crisis. However, the presence of government units is minimal as efforts have fallen short to control the price hike. They have limited themselves in merely presenting progress reports instead of monitoring the market. The spending capacity of the consumers has declined due to the pandemic. The price hike of goods has mainly affected the low-income consumers. Experts have opined that the government should mobilize its units in monitoring the market to control inflation instead of just presenting progress reports. It has been projected that the Indian economy will shrink by 24% in the current fiscal year as the country's GDP has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. This will directly have an impact on the Nepalese economy as the country imports 62% goods from India. Likewise, 15% of the country's total remittance relies on India as well. We have more in this report.
Many Nepalese youths who had returned home from India due to the COVID-19 pandemic have again started going back seeking for employment opportunities. 15% of the country's total remittance comes from the 2 million Nepalese working in India. Not only that, Nepal is one of the major markets for Indian products as the country imports 62% of its total goods from India alone, which includes agro-based products, construction materials and industrial raw materials. Likewise, Nepal exports 72% of its total goods to India, which is witnessing a negative economic growth for the first time in 40 years. The Indian Ministry of Project Implementation has already projected that the country's economy will decrease by 24% this year. Given this scenario, Nepal Rashtra Bank has informed that this would directly affect the Nepalese economy, particularly in export and remittance. Shrinkage in manufacturing in India has increased unemployment there, resulting in migration to Nepal in search of work for low wages, which causes rising unemployment among the Nepali youths. As 2/3 of Nepal's business is connected with India, the contraction in India's economy will impact the prices of goods. It is imperative for the Nepal government to expedite manufacturing and generate employment at the earliest to save jobs and control the risk of poverty rising further.
And now time for international update. The World Health Organization has reported a record one-day rise in the number of new coronavirus infections, with 307,930 reported over 24 hours. The agency said that deaths rose by over 5,500, bringing the global total to 917,417. The biggest increase in infections were reported in India, the US and Brazil. Worldwide, there have been more than 28 million confirmed cases, half of which have been in the Americas. The previous one-day record for new cases was on 6th of September when the WHO reported 306,857 new infections. According to the WHO, India reported 94,372 new cases on Sunday, followed by the US with 45,523 and Brazil with 43,718 cases. More than 1,000 new deaths were recorded in the US and India, while Brazil said 874 people had died from COVID-19 related illness in the past 24 hours. India has the second largest number of confirmed cases in the world behind the US. Last week, it reported nearly 2 million COVID-19 cases in August, the highest monthly tally in the world since the pandemic began. Meanwhile, Israel is going to impose a new national lockdown to contain the spread of coronavirus, with tough restrictions coming into effect on Jewish New Year. The country's second lockdown begins on Friday and lasts at least 3 weeks. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the measures would exact a heavy price on them all, but the country faced a surge with 4,000 new daily infections. An Israeli minister had resigned to protest against the restrictions that overlap with important Jewish festivals. He also threatened to pull his party out of the governing coalition. The country has seen 1,108 deaths from COVID-19 and more than 153,000 confirmed infections, according to a global tally kept by U.S. University Johns Hopkins. And in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Dhating what problems have they been facing while keeping corona-infected individuals in home isolation. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public Voice.
आइसोलेसनमा बस्दाखेरि चाहिँ बिरामीलाई काशी बिरामी भयो भने त्यसको स्वास्थ्य उपचार चाहिँ कसरी गर्न सक्ने
संयुक्त परिवारमा पनि बसेका हुन्छौं हैन अनि घरमा त्यो अनुसारको संरचना पनि नहुन सक्छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब त्यो संक्रमित व्यक्ति त यसै संक्रमित हुने नै भयो अब होम आइसोलेसनमा बस्दाखेरि ख्याल गर्न सकेन भने अरु व्यक्तिलाई पनि संक्रमण हुने सम्भावना धेरै भयो नि त
बिरामीको लागि हाम्रो यसै चिन्ता भइहाल्यो र छरछिमेकीले पनि हामीलाई घृणा गर्ने अलि के अर्कै दृष्टिले हेर्ने हैन अब त्यस्तै हुन्छ
एउटा शौचालय होला सबै परिवारले त्यही शौचालय प्रयोग गर्नु पर्यो अनि त्यो संक्रमण भएको मान्छेले त्यही शौचालय प्रयोग गर्नु पर्ला अब यसरी अब त्यो सम्भव छैन
दीर्घ रोगीहरु बुढाबुढी पनि हुन्छन् अब बच्चाहरुको अब बुढाबुढीको दीर्घ रोगीहरुको लागि पनि समस्या हुन्छ
And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, why have prices of fruits and vegetables increased during the pandemic? Your options are option A, high-handedness of businessmen, option B, less imports, and option C, lack of monitoring. The voting is on. Type any WS selector option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's now time for our special segment of The Beat.
Two youths in Gorkha's Bhumil Chowk have started commercial farming of Kalij pheasant at an investment of 10 million rupees. The poultry farming, spanning over 10 ropanis of land, presently has 1,500 male and female Kalij pheasant. The two youths, Subhash Kandel and Bimochan Silwal, use modern technology to hatch the eggs and sell the grown-up Kalij to hotels and restaurants from Naubise to Pokhara on the Prithvi Highway. The total management cost of the farm comes to about 100,000 rupees, while they are selling every grown-up Kalij for 3,500 rupees. The duo says that it takes about 9 months for the Kalij to grow to full maturity. The Gandaki Rural Municipality has also provided financial incentive to promote the business of these two youths. The face of a water park in Nepalganj is finally changing. The water park, built around a pond, has started to become a treat to the eyes of the local residents in Nepalganj. The water park is spread over some 100 ropanis of land located in the west of Pushpalal Chowk in Nepalganj, a sub-metropolitan city. People have started visiting the park to find momentary relief from the rigorous daily chores of their lives. The management looking after the water park has said that very shortly they would start boating, fish farming and other recreational activities at the park. The pilot project of the park was made in 1995 and it had taken the authority to bring the park to the current position after 25 years at an investment of 44.6 million rupees. The video-sharing social networking platform, TikTok, that has been appreciated by many in recent times, has gained massive popularity as a medium of entertainment. At the same time, it is also good to know that social works are conducted with the funds collected from the video-sharing app. Dili Raj Parajuli from Bagdula, Bhutan, connected with the video-sharing app TikTok after the lockdown was imposed. Parajuli came across various individuals in the country and abroad through the app. Parajuli formed a Nepali TikTok group by coordinating with other individuals and started collecting funds in a bid to extend financial help to marginalized children in Nepal. Parajuli informs about the children in need in different parts of the country on a daily basis from 7 to 11 a.m. through his TikTok videos. The people in the country and across the world that are connected to him through TikTok have been lending a helping hand after viewing his contents. This is Sarah Chitrakar for our special segment of The Beat and Kantipur News Desk.
And before we wrap up this morning news bulletin, here's a look at the top stories one more time. The rescue operation for the 20 people missing from yesterday's landslides in Nagpuze and Birkharka in Sindhupalchok resumes early this morning. The prices of edible and vegetables skyrocket in recent days. Government monitoring remains dismal in controlling the exorbitant price hike. Indian economy projected to shrink by 24% in the current fiscal year due to the global pandemic. Nepalese economy to face a spiral effect of the Indian economic recession. And Dominic Thiem becomes the new US Open champion. Zverev loses the title class in a marathon 5-set contest. And those were our latest headlines. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTVSD. Stay safe and good day.